African Great Lakes, Victoria, Tanganyika, Malawi, in India, particularly with Dr. Vas and Dr. Sharma later on, and Chipri, we have done a lot of conferences. And of course, being from India, I showed a lot of interest in bringing India on the map of world research. So the society does timely international national conferences and workshop, establishes working groups like we have. We are hoping to establish a working group in Ganges to homogenize techniques and give training sessions. We publish a primary journal, Aquatic Ecosystem Health and Management, from between Canada and the States. We also publish books, peer-reviewed books. The journal publishes concise papers, which a lot of Indian authors have done in major rivers and on Ganges and on Godavari and Yamuna. There are 14 rivers we publish already. That's the most extensive record of the ecology of Indian rivers published by any other journal in the whole world. We invite essays from senior scientists, experienced people to learn from their wisdom. We do special issues. We have done, we do books. These are some examples of the books, monographs. We have published about 5 special issues from 2001 to 2017, about which I already talked to you about Great Himalayas ecology and tropical temperate regions. Of course, 2 issues on Ganges, 1 on the major rivers. So these are heavily downloaded by the people. And actually, Ganges papers by Dr. Vas on fisheries and by Dilip Kumar, the culture of Ganges, is the most downloaded papers of the journal for the last 5 years. These are upcoming issues by the society. We just had a conference in Pantnagar in Uttarakhand last winter, just before the COVID started. I came back from India, and then after 1 week, we were locked in. So we are, as a result of this Pantnagar conference, we are having 3 special issues on invasive species with Dr. Singh, and on climate change with Dr. Sarkar, and on Pantnagar with various people. Our other upcoming issues is there on African Great Lakes, on social, cultural, and economic ecosystem services. And then we have planned a special issue in the developments and improvements of modeling techniques in freshwater. You can see the modeling is so important because COVID is managed by modeling of the infection rate. One of the, although COVID is bad, one of the advantages is that the governments have learned how to apply science and modeling in the management of politics, this is a tremendous development. So I think I'd like to once again thank all the organizers and Samiullah, and I'm glad he persisted. The life is so busy here, particularly due to COVID. I rejected him 3 times. I felt bad about it, but 4th time he persisted. So then here I am, and I hope easy and inexpensive approach so that not too much of money will be needed. You have long rivers, so you have to work hard, and working hard is always fantastic and exciting. Thank you very much.
His question is regarding what would be the overall trophic status of a lake when only 2 parameters are assessed, that is when chlorophyll concentration reflects mesotrophic nature and phosphorus reflects eutrophic nature of the lake. In that situation, what will be the overall trophic status of a lake?
Yeah, well, normally all these parameters, as I showed you, about 4 of them, they they confirm each other. You don't have contrasting data. If you have contrasting data, that means there's something wrong with the technique or sampling. You have to be very careful. The same standard sampling techniques are done, but normally chlorophyll, primary production, phosphorus, all these confirm with each other. You don't have. We didn't see any high chlorophylls and low phosphorus, or vice versa. So then you should check your techniques. How your techniques are there. Is there any contamination of some kind that you are getting high data? The best thing is to see the odd layers. When you bring the data, multiple trophic data, look at the data. That's why it's important to look at long-term data, multiple parameters. So any outliers, you should check it out. Why the values are low or high. I always look at high and low value. Mark Fitzpatrick there in the audience knows. I quickly go and say, why this is high? And he says, I knew that you're going to ask about it. I have the explanation. So this doesn't happen. And if it happened, you should look at your methodology.
We have one more question from Asifa. He's asking for the phosphate has a major contribution in primary production of lakes, which ultimately leads to increase in the fish production. Can we accept it as a better thing to have phosphorus in excess level?
Well, I think that's where the modeling comes. I think our modelers have estimated, and that's what I'm trying to emphasize. When you have this chlorophyll, phosphorus, and production data, you will know how much of phosphorus should be there. You should estimate by modeling the amount of acceptable phosphorus level, which will give you moderate harvest of fish. And I think cutting down too much of phosphorus will cut down the fish also. So you got to estimate from your research what is the acceptable level of phosphorus which will produce healthy fisheries. This is a very old question, and it's a very good question. So we in Great Lakes have various modelers. We have modeling from phosphorus to fish. Total harvest, what kind of fish? Some species like low phosphorus, some species like high phosphorus. And how does it affect the grazing of zooplankton of the phyto and then the grazing by the fish? So you have to we have to adopt not just fish, you have to adopt the food web approach, the food chain. So like Varanasi is full of mess. And primary production is so high, over 100 milligrams. That's unbelievable. It's not tolerable here, more than 50 milligrams, as I showed you in the graph. So you got to determine that all this extra productivity, where is it going? What is it doing? We don't know in Ganges. What is that high chlorophyll and high production is doing? We only know it exists. So how does it very high primary production and phosphorus affecting the nature of fish? Now the special issue in invasive species with Dr. Singh is telling that the harvest is going down. The species composition is not for good species, but for bad species. I'm not a fishery person. The fish expedition says that the species composition of Ganges River is bad. A dolphin has disappeared. Now due to COVID is coming back. So you have to look from an ecosystem perspective. What is good? Don't just take phosphorus and just fish. Total harvest. I know fish is the pulse of the Indian fishermen, and a lot of poor and rich people depend on fisheries. So you need to apply a modeling approach, an ecosystem approach. You have to see what is really good amount of phosphorus which should be dispersed. Right now, I think anybody will tell you that what is happening in the Middle East is unacceptable from any international standards. And I'm surprised there's not too much emphasis is given in India on phosphorus abatement. They go on BOD. BOD is used only mainly in wastewater treatment over here, not for the lake or river management.
We have observed.
I hope I answered.
Okay, we have observation from our this participant, namely Muhammad Sharjil Sofi. As policymakers have failed miserably in managing the rivers of India, I believe that large rivers should be declared as the property of the defense for their maintenance. What are your views about it?
I don't know what the defense has done. Are they disposing of things in Ganges? I mean, how does the defense come in? Are they have some disposal from their material? I mean, I think I don't know how you think that phosphorus has failed. Maybe the people the managers who applied the phosphorus, I had to see the document in what way the phosphorus failed. We have a record of 50 years, Canadian, American, European, Chinese data which shows the abatement of phosphorus is really good in control of eutrophication. We have to find out the amount, how much should be the minimum limit allowed. So if you say it's failed, I don't know what you mean by failing of phosphorus. High phosphorus is not good.
Okay, we have one more query from the Umaira Qayyum. She's asking, up to what extent can we change the status of an eutrophic lake back to the oligotrophic, especially if it is an urban lake?
Well, I think it depends what is the uses of the water is important. It is for agriculture, is it for drinking, or is it for just some cultural activities? So you decide how much of, I mean, we recommended 30 microgram based on our data. Maybe the 30 microgram is too low for India because you already have very rich phosphorus in most of the rivers, as I know, based on the papers we have published. So actually, I don't know. Somebody in your various departments work, agricultural department, geography department, public health, whoever manages the phosphorus limits in sewage disposal, they should decide how much should be permissible for whatever use. So use of the water is very important. You know, drinking water has high standards than for agriculture. The plants doesn't need very clean water. You know, for industrial uses, some kind of pollution is allowed. So and to clean up the phosphorus is expensive undertaking. So it all depends on planners and managers and collective opinion of the committee. That's why you need to have ecosystem approach. We have scientists, we have managers, you have public health people, and you have modelers working together. In the West, there's no such thing. Anybody can become anything, and they don't all want to become a doctor like the Indians wants to. But here you see in Canada, majority of the doctors are from India. Here, even now in Toronto, all the COVID is being managed by Indian doctors and other doctors because of the cultural heritage. You know, everybody wants to become a doctor because it makes money. Not that they want to help the humanity. You know, it just you become rich.
We have a one.
You get married in a rich.
One more.
To clean up algal balloons, I mean, you'll have to physically remove the algal balloon, but the control algal bloom is the nutrient abatement, which I presented. In this thing, it's already proven that is N and P and silica are the three nutrients which manage the algal blooms, so it's not just phosphorus, how much of silica is there to produce diatom algal blooms. The algal blooms are different types. Blue greens, chlorophyce, which you have in Ganges. Ganges have chlorophyce and blue greens cyanophyce. So you physically, I think I never heard anybody removing or harvesting the algal bloom. They are so minute. You just cannot, unless they are filamentous algae, you can remove them by some equipment, but they are all microscopic. It is very difficult to clean up algal blooms unless you clean up the source of pollution, which is nutrients, and where they are getting the seeds. Where are they getting the contamination? It's coming usually from outlets, from tributaries, from rivers, and other agricultural ways. So you have to look, what are the agricultural ways? India has a lot of work to do. It's just not the Ganges. All the rivers are a mess. I'm using this word because everywhere you have pollution and ecosystem health is questionable. I think the Ministry of Health, I don't know which.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, so Ministry of Health or Ministry of the Environment, whoever is managers, I think they are very active. I think they had to adopt the right approach, right techniques, and hopefully this presentation will show them some light.
We'll take a last question from our faculty member, Dr. Arshid Jahangir, who is actually interested in when we talk of a Great Lake so far the land use pattern is concerned and the Ganges is concerned, because we have a difference so far, even the population is concerned. How do you see to it that it can be actually the knowledge that has been actually worked in the Great Lakes can be applied so far the Ganges is concerned? Your comments, please.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main focus of my paper. I chose my talk not to tell you what I have been doing for 50 years, but to see what are the lessons from the Great Lakes, from the Western technology for India, and how they could be easy, applicable, and cheaper, and practical collectively in groups at selected stations. I think, of course, to apply to Indian situation, you need to have some workshops where we can come and show you how to do it. Look at your lab. It comes into the practical aspects. This is just theoretical aspects, and of course you can apply. I hope you will apply. I hope you will apply these techniques and approaches, which are guaranteed to be success in the Great Lakes, and that's how we are hoping that many of the countries will apply the Great Lakes approach. I'm not doing any propaganda of the Great Lakes, but I'm doing propaganda of science.
Okay, I think with these words, I, on behalf of the organizers, Department of Environmental Science, University of Kashmir, Srinagar, would once again like to thank you for giving us a wonderful talk on this, despite your busy schedule. I think with these words, we would like to conclude this today's session, and hopefully we will actually meet tomorrow at 10:30 sharp. Thank you to all of you. It will be 10. It will be 10.
Indian time.
Yes, it is. Yes, of course. It is Indian time. Instead of 10:30, it will be 10. Kindly note this timing. Once again, thank you to all of you.
It will be midnight here in Canada.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.